what was your big idea for Nails Inc? How did it happen?
I used to be a fashion editor in a magazine, at Tatler magazine, and I had an American boss and went backwards and forwards to the States all the time, and was inspired by the fact there were nail bars on every street corner, and the women got their nails done on a very frequent basis. And back in the UK, we were absolutely one, if not hundreds of steps behind. Women weren't getting their nails done. Most women didn't have their nails painted. And they really got their nails done only as a treat, wedding day, that sort of thing. So brought that concept back, but always very branded. So the operation that exists in the States is really a service, quick operation, but it's not a great experience. There isn't theatre or any kind of engagement or really a love for the customer. It's just really a very commodity-driven service. So always wanted to bring it with brand and product. And then, long story short, we spent a lot of the years, as well as building up the brand and building up the nail bars, also just selling product internationally and product across the UK. So really building and extending that range and just being good at one thing, so just being a nail expert, really.
What were your early challenges? So once you had that light bulb moment in the States, turning that into a real thing.
I mean, I think many challenges in the beginning. Raising money, which we talked a lot about today, probably more difficult then than it was now. And it's my first business, so going out and understanding everything from product development to warehousing to the big things like raising capital to employing your first member of the team. I mean, just everything that I love about my business. It's that amazing entrepreneur journey where you're learning a little bit about so many subjects, and I don't think anything really gets you ready for that until you're doing it. You don't, even when you're setting up your own business, you don't really think about the fact that you're going to be working across kind of 20 or 30 different areas and so much sort of plate spinning. But I think it is what entrepreneurs like myself thrive on. The fact that you're involved in everything from accountancy to product development to creative to advertising to marketing to business to strategy to global plans for the next 5 years. That's what excites you. It's never the same day twice. It's never dull.
One of the big sort of drivers, I suppose, your success was getting into department stores. That was like a big sort of push of the brand.
Massive, yeah.
And a lot of entrepreneurs ask me that when we talk to them. How can I get into Sainsbury's? How can I get into... What's your advice for getting into the big guys?
I mean, in terms of how we got into retailers, we just went around and pitched. We just, you need one to say yes, and so you go and see all of them. We're going back now and doing that internationally. We're taking nail bars, across the States. We're doing one in Hong Kong, and it's like being a startup again. You go into those countries and you go and you see all 5 department stores and you pitch, and sometimes you're lucky enough to be in a position where all 5 want you, and sometimes just one wants you, and it might not even be the one you wanted, but you have to start somewhere and get that opportunity off the ground and do the very best job you can so that all the other retailers that maybe were your first choice then want you next. And so I think, we didn't have any contacts. We just went and cold called and pitched, and I think what we always thought of was why it was a good reason for the department stores. And I think probably what's always worked well for Nails Inc is we came up with a reason why it was a good idea for the department stores to have us, that we could drive traffic into stores, that women that came in 2 or 3 times a year would come in and get their nails done once a week, once a fortnight, and why that was a benefit for a department store rather than just cafes and department stores. It was an added service, a bit like the way that the food, areas of the food courts, the cafes drive people in more regularly. And I think if you're thinking about it, like anything, if you're thinking about it from your customer's point of view, and in that scenario, our customer was the department store, if you make it easy for them, it usually works.